prime time on the top game, it's a fine line. Man in the match, that's Dave I. He's the main guy, keep a close eye. Make sure you don't make no wrong play, cause I'm with Jose and Andre. And when Cyrus comes to walk in, you better know that you are watching Premier League. Dave I, tell them what time we on. Prime time. Let me hear you say Premier League. Dave I, tell them what time we on. Prime time.
Hello and welcome to Premier League Primetime Season 4, Episode 7. And yes, we are back. We are back. All of us are back again. First off, Waleed may or may not show up this episode, potentially. If he does, then happy days. If not, hopefully we'll get him on the next one. And of course,
and his TikTok.
As always, we are joined, of course, by the main three, of course, Jose, Cyrus, and Andre. How are we all doing? And with that, let's just immediately get this thing started. Of course, as always, we start off with Arsenal. Cyrus going over to Arsenal, going over to the Gunners, taking a look at their recent results. And it looks like Arsenal are actually firing in the goals as of recent. And it just seems like they're going from strength to strength. And scores and ratings from Mikel Arteta and stand-up players, both on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, ever since that break we took, I think we've looked pretty brilliant, especially in the Premier League. We did lose to Porto, but I think we'll be fine next leg. Yeah, the goals are pouring in right now. I think that was kind of a struggle before the break, but all of a sudden 5 goals against Crystal Palace. They scored 3 against Liverpool, 6 against West Ham, 5 against Burnley. We've been absolutely crazy. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Standout players. Saka has been brilliant as of recent, even though I thought in the middle of this, like a little, before the break, I think he was a little off, but I think the break really helped him. Trossard's been great. Martinelli's been a little bit better. Odegaard has continued his great form. Center backs have been brilliant as always. I think Kiwior has been actually good as well. And Rice has been cooking per usual. So yeah.
One player that you mentioned that I just definitely think we need to talk about, Leandro Trossard. And ever since Gabriel Jesus has been out of the side, you look at Leandro Trossard is filling in this false nine position. And, I think he's definitely a big reason why Arsenal have been scoring so many more goals now. And, it just seems like the front three definitely are clicking a lot more. There's a lot more fluidity with him playing up front, even more than Jesus at times. And why do you think this is so? And do you think that he's the solution going forward for the remainder of the season to start Trossard up front, while Gabriel Jesus is out?
Yeah, I think he's definitely better than Nketiah. I don't know if he's the solution full time, but definitely for the rest of the season. He's actually kind of old. I think he's like 30 or something. Not old, but he's getting older. He's 31 actually. But he's been great. He's not world class by any means, but he's a great player nonetheless. I think he has our best goal per minute ratio. It's actually a pretty great one as well. He's just a great finisher. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Diego Jota a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's been great. Everything's been working out so far for us. So as long as we beat Porto, I'll be a very happy man.
Yeah, that's going to be the main thing. And while on the subject of Porto, Cyrus, what are your thoughts on the match? Because there a lot of these pescatarian Arsenal fans thought that they were going to steamroll Porto. I don't know if you were one of them, but a lot of them thought that they were.
No, definitely didn't think we were going to steamroll Porto. Did I expect us to lose? No. When it was 0-0 and there's a couple minutes left, I was honestly happy with it. But yeah. I'm honestly not too worried. They have to come to Emirates. We've been in this situation before, and we've come out just fine. I think we'll be okay. It's only 1 goal, and as of recent in the Emirates, we've been great. So I think we'll be fine, honestly. I just think it wasn't a great game. But I think we'll play well. I think Gabriel Jesus is gonna actually be back for that game, so we'll see if he starts. He's been actually really good in the Champions League this season. So
No, yes, and no, as you said, you also have been in this situation before on numerous occasions. But I mean, if we're talking about the round of 16 of the Champions League, I wouldn't say so much. In the last time they were in that situation, they lost a 5-1 against Bayern Munich at home. But I can't really talk about anything Champions League related because my team finished bottom of the group, and I can't really say anything about that, can I? So a momentary bit of banter is fun and done. Next, going into Aston Villa, Jose, looking at their recent runs and a recent run of fixtures and games, standout players who Unai Emery and standout players on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, it looks like they're picking up some form again after their loss to us. I think I would have to point out immediately Ollie Watkins, who's having a fantastic season. I think he has 14 goals and 10 assists.
I always mention Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, but he's in incredible form recently. I think he scored in almost every one of these games except for the United game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. No, he did not score against us. Somehow, surprisingly.
Yeah, and then also Douglas Luiz has been in fantastic form. I think he's like the league's highest scoring midfielder with like 9 goals, something like that. McTominay is up there too, of course.
No, of course.
But yeah, otherwise they've done fairly well. The Newcastle loss will be a little disappointing for them, and honestly, the loss against us probably would be too because they've been better than we have this season. So I'd probably give him a B.
No, I agree with that. I also think Leon Bailey, of course, he got a new contract. Leon Bailey's been absolutely cooking for this Villa side. Honestly, he's he's kept his performances have kept out Moussa Diaby, their new signing from Leverkusen, who everyone thought was going to replace and displace Leon Bailey, but Leon Bailey has actually been putting in quality performances in on the pitch to the point where Unai Emery has been saying, no, you know what? No, he's going to be my guy to start up front with Ollie Watkins. So, huge shots to Leon Bailey as well. Emi Martinez as well. And you know what? This is going to sound a very interesting one, but Clement Longley, there have been moments in this stretch of games where he's had to come in and he's had to play, and there have been games where he's definitely performed to a man, and he's been playing fairly to decently well. Enzo Konsa as well, I'll throw him in there as well. So Aston Villa, and Jose, do you not think that they will finish in the Champions League places this season, Aston Villa?
Yeah, well, there are 5, right?
No, I think they're 4th.
No, like there are 5 Champions League places this season.
Oh, then I think so, yes. As far as I know, that there are 5 Champions League places, but it's the top 4, do you think they'll finish 4th ahead of?
I think they'll finish. Yeah, I think they'll finish 4th.
Imagine how crazy that would be. If Tottenham win the Aston Villa win the Conference League, but also finish in the top 4. That would be absolutely crazy, honestly. And next, going into Bournemouth, looking at Bournemouth's run of games. Of course, Bournemouth just keep on doing their thing. Although you know what, I mean, this run of results hasn't been the greatest, but then again, their run of games has also been quite difficult. Looking at Bournemouth's run of games, Andre scores and ratings for Andoni Iraola and standout plays both on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said, Davis. I feel like, the results haven't been the best from what we've seen of Bournemouth this season, but I feel given the circumstances, I still think Iraola did a pretty good job to get his team playing. I'd probably give him like a 6. I feel like they're still pretty injury struck, but I think he did just a positive update on Tyler Adams coming back, and then I think Solanke's been out like a game or 2 now.
No, yes, and he's been one of the bright sparks, of course, as always.
So even then, they're definitely lacking in some, and already kind of somewhat of a. No, they don't have a thin squad, but I just feel like they're missing some key components. It wasn't an easy run of games, and I still think, even though the results weren't the best, I feel like they're really working hard off the ball. I think I've been thinking some of their greatest days under Eddie Howe, I really liked their energy off the ball, pressing, and I feel like they get the ball back quickly, and I feel like Iraola's got them doing that again. So I feel like further projects, fans well it's going to be a project. Iraola's new, and there's still definitely some bright sparks. So yeah, they've been unfortunate, but I still feel like I saw someone held an Iraola out sign. That was really stupid.
No, wait. Actually, there's someone who held up an Iraola out sign.
Yeah, it was like one fan at the stadium, and I saw it.
No, that's such things.
Fans, like it's a project, and I still think they're doing well. I mean, we consider Brentford and Thomas Frank to have a good team, and Bournemouth sit above them still. So,
No, I couldn't agree more. And also shout out Antoine Semenyo as well. He's he's still doing his thing. Luis Sinisterra. I just want to comment about Luis Sinisterra. That Bournemouth have triggered the option to sign him permanently in the summer. And I think, Andre, as you're saying, and you're talking about depth pieces and having, quality depth, I think that will be another great piece to have in their attack, whether Solanke stays, whether Dominic Solanke stays at Bournemouth past the season or not.
absolutely.
You saw the likes of Justin Kluivert, you saw the likes of Antoine Semenyo, now Luis Sinisterra, Marcus Tavernier. Those are 4 decent Premier League wingers to have.
They're definitely decent, and I think honestly, I think maybe the future of Bournemouth could be if I'm a young attacker and I want to play Premier League football and I don't know, I feel like Bournemouth would be a decent option. Like you've got some exciting talent around you, and yeah, the pressure probably isn't going to be too high. So I think it should be a good. Comment though, do you guys see their? They submitted a thing to change their logo. Their
Wait,
emblem.
really?
And I think it looks way better. Like it looks like it just looks more like a club with history. Like it's just I'll send a picture, but it's just like I don't know.
That's super interesting. I didn't know that actually. Thank you for the news, Sash Andre. I actually didn't know
that
that.
actually looks really good. I really like that.
Sorry,
No,
I got cut off.
Andre has it in the
Way
chat
better.
right now, and no, I know I rate it. I definitely.
Yeah, I
rate
think
it.
it's way better. I think they've had one of the ugliest emblems in the English 3 or 4 flights or whatever. Like it's not good. So I think I'm excited if they do change it.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great proposition. I from my personal opinion, I would like to see that change at some point. Anyways, moving on to Brentford. Looking at their run of games, scores and ratings for Thomas Frank, and send up players both on negative, positive side of things. Sirius, what are you saying?
Yeah, usually when I report on Brentford, it's a little bit better. They've been kind of struggling as of recently. They're 16th in the league right now, but I'm still not worried. But they've had hard games, to be fair to them. They had to play City. They had to play Liverpool. I think they played City the 5th
Yeah, they played
and
City
the 20th.
twice. They had to play City twice.
And City barely beat them the second time. They said Regulon.
Yeah,
I don't think he's been that good. I don't think he was great against West Ham. The games that they need, it's poor. They need to beat West Ham. Losing, Jared Bowen hat-trick, true, but conceding 4 goals is not good enough. Ivan Toney's been scoring here and there. He scored against Liverpool. He scored against Wolves. So he's been helping them out a little bit, but it's really just the defense. You can't be conceding that many goals.
I agree with
I
that.
thought Ben Mee had a better season last season, to be honest.
No, I agree. I agree with everything that you said. And adding on to their defensive woes, I think Nathan Collins has been absolutely horrendous, especially in that game against Wolves. Absolutely abysmal. Literally gifted them 2 goals. I watched that game and I just thought they just looked absolutely. They looked absolutely awful in that game. But serious, of course, your guy is still scoring goals, Neal Maupay. Any words of praise for your guy, Neal Maupay?
Yeah, he can go. Well, I can't say this on the podcast, but let's just say stick it where the sun don't shine, Dave.
I agree. Hey, I thank you for that, Sirius. You know what, Miss Sirius, big up yourself for that. I'm not gonna lie. But the last thing I wanted to talk about, Igor Thiago. He's going to be coming in from Club Brugge. He's going to be he's coming in 30 million pounds striker. Do you reckon this is the Ivan Toney replacement, already signed, sealed, delivered, and Brentford more or less just bracing themselves for this Ivan Toney departure this summer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna leave. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't know where he could come to us. I don't know where he'd really fit. Honestly, I think he'd fit with us. I don't know about you guys. You already have Rasmus, who's actually been pretty decent recently. I know he got an injury. But I honestly, looking at the big clubs, like I see him with us or maybe a smaller club like Tottenham. But besides that, that's what I think.
No, yeah. I think, I think that's an interesting question to also throw out. Where Ivan Toney will end up. But, when I think of teams that he can slot right into, Arsenal's one, Chelsea's another. But I would not advise him to go to Chelsea. If I'm his agent, I would say stay far away from anything Chelsea is doing at this current moment in time. But no, I think he'd fit right in Arsenal. And even if somehow Ineos, because Man United want a striker, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made that very clear. And Jose, it would be very interesting to see if hey, I'm dreaming. Hey, who says we can't dream? Who says we can't dream for having two quality strikers? I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying I'm dreaming. I'm only saying let's dream.
I mean, I wouldn't even want the signing, Davis.
Why? But why wouldn't you be open to having two quality strikers?
Because he's going to be so expensive and he's old.
He's only 20. What? He's only 20. Is he 27?
I thought he was 28.
I think he's 28.
But he's a proven Premier League striker. He's proven in the Premier League. He's a fantastic footballer. So he's so many facets to his game.
He's
I feel like he'd still give you like 4 more good years.
Maybe.
What he's doing,
I feel like we should look for younger players.
Of course, I wouldn't sign anyone before clearing out the squad that we have first. But if he's available,
For like 40 million, maybe.
I wouldn't. He's going to be at least 60. At least 60.
I know. That's why I wouldn't want.
If honestly, if we didn't sign Rasmus Højlund, right, and it was between Højlund and Ivan Toney, both of them were 60 mil. I'm spending that 60 mil on Ivan Toney. But anyways, more money I'll talk about later. But next we have Brighton. Brighton, it's not been looking too great for Brighton as of late. Looking at their recent run of fixtures, Jose, scores remaining to Roberto De Zerbi, and Santa plays both on the negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, the Luton loss was particularly shocking. But they've actually been in good goal scoring form recently, I would say. I think Pascal Gross, for me, has been the best player recently. I would also highlight Buonanotte has looked good, and Lewis Dunk has been scoring important goals and pretty good at the back as well, as usual, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd point out those three. They've been pretty up and down, honestly, better than the last run of games that we covered for them. So I would say there's a little improvement you can see. But the Luton loss is pretty bad. I'd probably give them a C.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say. And up until his injury, he recently just got a new injury, Karim Matoma, but he'd been looking back to his old self. But I had to talk about João Pedro because he has been impressing me all season long, and whether Chelsea come calling for him or not is it's we don't know. We don't know.
Stopping signing for Chelsea.
I mean, they're signing everyone from Brighton, Jose. I mean, we don't know.
I know. No, I'm not saying I don't believe that it would happen. I think that I would believe that it would happen.
Do you think Brighton with the person they have, do you think that they could still get European football for next year? Do you think that they'll still get it?
I mean, let me look quickly at the league table.
I was watching the Europa League,
definitely.
The Europa League draw. They have Roma. They have Roma in the round of 16. So I think that's going to be a really, really difficult time for them.
Yeah, that'll be a great game.
That'll be a game I'll definitely keep an eye on. I think that'll be a very interesting game to see. seeing a vastly experienced squad like Roma's versus again up against Brighton's. I think that'll be a very, very interesting thing to see. But I mean, I think if they want to crack on, I think they need to get European football at least for next year, whether that be Europa League or Conference League. It needs to be one of them. But we will see what happens. Next we have Burnley, and Burnley just I don't even know what to say. Andre's giving a thumbs down, and stick with you, Andre. Scores and ratings for Vincent Kompany and Stand Up Players on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, it's not looked good for Burnley. Yeah, I mean, I know we used to say, oh, Kompany's playing, pretty adventurously. If he's going to do well in the league, he's got to, solidify defensively. But now it's just like nothing's working. In the recent match against Oliver Glasner's Palace, I saw they put up 2 shots. It's just like, I know they had a red card, but still, yeah, nothing's working for Burnley at the moment. Probably give Kompany like a 2. Looking like possibly the weakest manager in the Prem right now. It's odd to think that like when they were doing so well in the Championship, he was linked with some top jobs, including Tottenham's, which is kind of crazy. But
and Chelsea, but then again, that's earlier top job, was it?
But yeah, it's not looked good for Burnley. I can't really stand out players. I guess you could say their only dangerous players, maybe Fofana.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's it. That's where fun is about it. But then again, looking at that match against Liverpool, I mean, he missed how many chances that he should have put away. So I'm not giving them that pass, unfortunately. But for me, Burnley are just bound to go down. They're going to go down, and same with Sheffield United. It'll be interesting to see who will come third, because I think Luton are putting up a fight. I think Luton, I feel like we're bound to go down, but now I feel like with the recent form, I think they're only 3 points behind Everton now, even with the with their deduction. So I feel like now it's gone from sort of like they're bound to go down and a surrender to a fight, and I think it will be very interesting to see. But of course, I couldn't wait to talk about this next team, and we yet again have to talk about this team. One of Andre and Jose's favorites, Chelsea. They, looking at Chelsea, Maurizio Pochettino's lads, his boys. Let's take a look. Looking at their recent run of fixtures and losing the Carabao Cup final. Scores and ratings from Mauricio Pochettino, and stand-up players on a negative and positive side of things. Jose, what are we saying?
Okay. I would say that they've, in the last 3 games, have looked better. I think that I was impressed with their mentality against Palace and against City. I think that they were good until they started to shut up shop, and then they were terrible after that. But I think if they continued to play more open football against Man City, they would have won. They would have beaten them. It was only when they shut up shop that then they allowed City to come onto them and then got destroyed by their defense. And still only drew, and then obviously the Liverpool game, I thought that they were just pretty unlucky. I mean, they could have finished like at least 3 or 4 easy chances and beaten Liverpool within the 90 minutes, to be honest. So I think they were a bit unlucky in that game. But otherwise, they were terrible in the first 2 games. So it's same old Chelsea, pretty much. I would honestly say. Sterling scored a crap goal that got called offside in the final. I will mention that. Typical Sterling
against Man City.
Typical Sterling tapping. That got ruled out.
Any props to Raheem Sterling this time around, or no?
I don't know what you're talking about, Davis. All right, anyways, I would go with C for Chelsea as well.
Okay.
Actually, I want to add on. I mean, I think Sterling also deserves some criticism. I mean, he got enough from Jose here, but I just feel like this Chelsea team. It's like I really think they could go places if they just actually had maybe some experience. And I feel like the most experienced attacker they do have is Sterling, who's not doing enough to just give them that killing edge. I feel like, I don't know. I just think they need someone to they just need like a Roy Keane type of figure to just kind of fucking just get on everyone. Like there's just
unfortunately,
the attitude is just too relaxed. Like they just need a hard head. Like I don't know, they need edge.
I mean, the two best players for me have been Georgi Petrovic and Malo Gusto. Those two have been two of the only players I can come away with any sort of, props.
Malo
But other
Gusto,
than that,
Malo
it's just
Gusto
been the
has
same.
impressed me definitely a lot recently.
I mean,
Are
for
we-
me, you have to look at their midfield. Enzo Caicedo. I mean, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, 200 million pounds worth of midfield, who got dominated by a bunch of academy kids from Liverpool, like in the Carabao Cup final. That's
why, and it's like that doesn't. I just feel like they're both. That's why. I mean, I think they're both good players, but I feel like they both could do just playing in the midfield next to someone more experienced. I mean, Gallagher is one of their captains. He's still a young player. I just feel like they need.
and so limited as a player. Everyone wants to tell, and like he's been one of the better players this season for Chelsea. And I think in a system like that, Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace was perfect for him. But then again, he was surrounded by veterans. He had Wilfred Zaha alongside him in attack, so he could, he had the experience. He had who else was alongside? I can't remember.
I mean, you could make an argument that almost
Middle
all of their new younger signings that have succeeded being young and vibrant, but next to the sort of that experience, like playing alongside that, these kids still need to learn, and they don't really have too many of those figures.
Ben Chilwell is one of their captains, and he has been absolutely dreadful in that Liverpool game. He was horrendous in both in the league game and in the Carabao Cup final. And everyone wants to make all the excuses for Ben Chilwell and that he's their best left back and he has injuries and all that. Like,
yeah, I think it just speaks to, you rely on Raheem Sterling to get things done. This is what happens. I mean, it's like that chance to get done all over again.
Serious. What are your thoughts on just the absolute carnage that's going on at Chelsea? And enlighten us with what you think.
Nicholas Jackson is complete balls.
I mean, he's been poor. He's been poor as well. He's been very poor as well.
And Mudryk sucks.
Mudryk to Arsenal. Maybe Arsenal could do Chelsea a favor like they did with Havertz.
Nope.
I do have one question. I really have not seen much of him, but are you guys underwhelmed by Christopher Nkunku from what we've seen so far?
Yeah,
that was gonna be something I was gonna say.
I thought he was gonna fly at Chelsea, and he's been terrible. But I mean, he has no one around him. Like he had Poulsen at Leipzig, he had Danny Olmo, he had Forsberg in midfield. He had a lot of players. He had a lot of quality players around him at Leipzig.
He was playing with Szoboszlai as well. Like the structure at Leipzig is, I'd say even the footballing structure at Leipzig is definitely more secure than it is at Chelsea. One of their former directors, Christopher Vivell, who came into Chelsea last season, he wanted Nagelsmann for the job. But then when, the news came out that they were going to appoint Pochettino, he handed in his resignation and he left Chelsea. And, I think he saw what was coming or what was going to just continue to happen. And once again, and with that now, after this Carabao Cup final, it is Chelsea season well and truly done now.
Yeah, I mean it has been. I mean I don't think anyone was really expecting them to win that final,
even though they still have the FA Cup.
Yeah, no, I still would say it's done.
Oh, well, there you have it. On a more uplifting note, let's talk about Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace, up until the match against Burnley, it just looked an absolute shambles for Crystal Palace, barely beating Sheffield United. Roy Hodgson, of course, getting the sack. New man Oliver Glasner in, and he started off his new chapter in South London at Crystal Palace by winning, of course, against Burnley by 3-0. But I think that match, I think they should be winning that game anyways. But it's always good to start on a high, of course. So, but looking at everything, on a cumulative standpoint, looking at these last 5 games, serious scores and ratings for Crystal Palace, and stand up place with on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah. There's like Premier League forever now. But I don't know. I don't see like any real like over the last couple of years. I don't see an extreme improvement. You know, they beat Burnley. That was good. You know, lost to Chelsea. That's fair, I guess. But yeah, they're 13th. That's kind of like the area that they've been in the last like what years, like a bunch of years. We beat them 5-0 because we're just brilliant. I think Eze and Elise are like, you know, they're bright sparks, of course. They've been scoring recently. You know, sometimes I watch Matete play and I'm like, you know, he's really not that bad. He knows how to hold the ball well. He has some pace, a little bit skillful. Ayu's been actually, even though I shot on Ayu a lot, he's been scoring recently too. I think Lerma's been decent as well. But yeah. Besides that, you know, they still have their two center backs. They
Gay's
have
been
Tyrese.
injured. I don't know where Anderson's been, but Gay's been injured. He's been out.
Who?
Mark Guay, he's been injured.
Ass.
Fair. No, all right. Fair enough.
Yeah, he got injured just like 2-3 games ago. So they kind of had to change their formation a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Oliver Glasner has to a back three. And speaking of Oliver Glasner, what are your thoughts on this appointment? Do you think this is Palace going in the right direction? And if so, what do you think he can bring to this Crystal Palace side? I'll throw this out. I'll throw this question out to the whole panel. Like what do all of you think about this appointment? Do you think this is a good appointment going in the right direction?
Actually, I do think he could be the best manager that I've seen like Palace get, and in my sort of whatever lifetime as a fan in the Premier League. Yeah, I
Won
think
the Europa
Glasner.
League with Frankfurt a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, that's right. He won the Europa League. He had that Frankfurt team going. I feel like they've. Maybe he was really interested in coming to the Premier League, but I feel like if he waited, he might have been able to even get a bit of a better job. But yeah, I think they've got a quality manager. I'm excited to see what he can do with Palace, and maybe I mean I think he's only on a 2-year contract, so maybe he might run it out, or I don't know if he'll want to stay. I feel like obviously Palace haven't shown them the most ambition. They're like to me they're the epitome of the team that's okay with just being in the league. So
you definitely have said that for a very. Andre, you always say that all the time. Crystal Palace are just okay and content with being in the league, and that you're sick and tired of seeing it. Yeah, you definitely, that's something that you've always been saying, Andre, for like the longest like period of time about Crystal Palace. I mean, you never know. I mean, with their summer coming up, I mean, whether you have to look at Elise and Eze, whether they'll stay or not. Both of them have been linked with moves away.
I would just say Glasner reminds me of a bit of Hasenhüttl at Southampton, and I feel like that could be a similar situation where they kind of start doing well with a new system for a bit, maybe a year, and then they kind of get found out, and then the cycle just repeats and he gets sacked. To be honest,
yeah, maybe. But I definitely like this appointment just from a neutral perspective. I think it's a very interesting appointment. Because as Andre said, I think Oliver Glasner is a manager that is more deserving of a better job, with all due respect to Crystal Palace. But who knows? I mean, maybe he can coach some of these players to be better footballers. I mean, you look at the new signing Adam Morton coming in as well. He's already been playing. He looks a player as well. Mateus Franca as well. He came in the summer. Brazilian winger, so we'll see what he can do with some of these players. Honestly, I think it'll be very, very interesting to see. Next, Everton. We have Everton next. Looking at their running games, Andre scores and ratings for Sean Dyche and stand up players on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think of any match I've seen from Everton recently. I'll be honest.
I mean, I can point out Branthwaite. He's been the only player who's really shown quality recently for Everton.
I'd say James Garner as well. I'd say the pair of them. James Garner, Joe, Joe and I would definitely know a thing or two about James Garner as well, former Man United boy. I don't know why Ten Hag let go of him and kept Scott McTominay. Another Ten Hag masterclass, but that's a later
I
discussion.
don't really think that they're similar players whatsoever. I think that Kobe Mainoo, if anything, is a much better player than Garner.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like comparing. I don't know. Or that's like comparing, comparing James Garner to Kobe Mainoo is definitely a bit. I wouldn't say it's entirely outlandish, but it's definitely in a bit of an unfair comparison to have. But yeah, I think Jared Branthwaite, I agree with that. Looking at the recent results, it's just so typical Dyche, really is. Drawing 0-0 to Fulham, drawing Tottenham, losing to Man City, and just everything draws.
I think the biggest victory for them is getting their. Is that I don't know why that's happening.
I have no idea.
The biggest victory for them is getting their points deduction reduced to 6 points.
Oh, yeah. Just for that, they'll get a 9.
I did see that. I found that quite extraordinary as well. But negatives, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as I've said, Everton have needed to sell this guy for years. This summer, it has to be the summer where they sell him. They need to move on from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Move on. I mean, they spent all that money on Beto. They may as well give him a chance, give him some games. They need to move on from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Move on. Everton, please, just move on from DCL. They need to move on from Calvert-Lewin. Move on. Honestly, I just want to see them move on from it. Anyways, next, Fulham. I'd rather not talk about Fulham, but we kind of have to right now.
And Dave, I don't play.
Yep, of course. Looking at looking at their past 5 matches. Serious scores and ratings for Marco Silva and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things.
Well, Dave, let me tell you. Yeah. Before I get into Fulham, what a beautiful stadium they have. Anyways, yeah, beating Man U, pretty impressive. The GOAT, Iobi, scoring at the end, that brought tears to my eyes, I'll tell you that. I thought he had a good spot at Everton as well. I think definitely not top 6 quality, but definitely definitely mid-table quality and a good player for them. Yeah, I think Muniz has been good. Replacing Mitrovic. I think Willian has had a couple good games. I think someone who had possibly, you could say, a better season last season, but is still doing well is Paulinho. I thought he had a little bit of a better season last season, but yeah, Muniz has been scoring a decent amount though, so pretty impressive for him.
He has.
Yeah, but besides that, not a bad run of games. They lost to Aston Villa. It's a hard game, tying to Burnley, Everton. But they beat Bournemouth and they beat Man U, so they beat the 2 shit clubs. So
Yeah, I mean, the Fulham definitely have been looking more impressive, and as you pointed out, Rodrigo Muniz, I swear, Muniz reminds me a bit of what's his name at the other Rodrigo at he used to play for Leeds. He reminds me of him a lot. Definitely does. So I think that's I don't know where this guy came from. I don't know. I feel like he literally spawned out of nowhere. So quite interesting to see. Next, of course, the Carabao Cup winners themselves. Liverpool. Congrats to Liverpool. God, serious moving mad as per usual. But looking at Liverpool, Andre, looking at Jurgen Klopp, which of course he will dive deep into that subject and conversation, as he will be out the door in the summer. Looking at their past run against Andre, scores and ratings for Jurgen Klopp and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, Yeah, they look simply inspired. Still top of the table. And yeah, I don't know. I think just because it's Klopp's last season, I think I'm kind of rooting for him. Yeah, I could do without a City winning the league again, but yeah, they looked really inspired, man. That front three is clicking. I mean, it sort of says everything. Even when we saw them win that final with the kids, yeah, that was you can just tell there's just a good feeling around the club, and I honestly think yeah, if I would still say the next favorites after City. I still think City are favorites for the title. For standout players, I can't remember his name, but he's got like the blonde hair, and I think he scored on one of his first few games like weeks ago. This is like maybe even in the period of our last episode, but I can't remember his name.
He had blonde hair.
Yeah,
How specific.
he's like a kid. Is it
Connor Bradley.
Connor Bradley? Yeah, Connor Bradley. Yeah, my grandpa's a Liverpool fan. He won't shut up about Connor Bradley. He loves seeing him play. So yeah, I think
he looks an outstanding prospect. Honestly,
Yeah.
and just seeing a couple matches of him playing, I don't doubt his quality. He looks a very good footballer, and the way he scored that goal against Chelsea, that's not a finish of a right back. You know, that's not just any order. He took that well. He took that very, very, very well, and quite an admirable performance as well in the cup final. Had to move to right wing when Gravenberch got injured. So
Yeah,
that was such an unbelievably admirable performance as well. Connor Bradley's been great, and with this whole injury crisis as well from Liverpool, Jota out, Salah out, Nunez out, now Gravenberch is out, Szoboszlai, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, all out. And you know what? Huge shouts have to go to Virgil van Dijk. Big shouts.
Yeah, he's been
what a
immense.
performance in that cup final. Captain, leader, legend of the cup, scoring that goal for Liverpool and to win them that cup final. Leader, proper captain. Luis Diaz has been all right. Wataru Endo, 60 million pounds. Let's just remind everyone, this is a player who came in for 16 million pounds from Stuttgart to be it wasn't supposed to be the replacement for Fabinho, but more of like a steady Eddie to just rotate. He's actually been playing every single week, and he's been playing well consistently, always giving a 6 or 7 out of 10 every single week. So he's been great. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott as well. Very good as well.
Gakpo has been knocking him in too.
No, you know what? Gakpo for me is one of the negatives. Honestly, I don't know what Gakpo just. You know what? At the time when we missed out on him, Jose, I was a little bit I was a little annoyed that we didn't sign Gakpo. But now looking back on it, you know what? Just he's just really not clinical enough. And when I look at Gakpo, in this Liverpool side, maybe it'd be different under Ten Hag, but just when I look at it now, just I don't know. I mean, he was playing as a number 10 under LVG in the World Cup, so I don't know why he's just been playing as a false 9, but just I don't think he's been good enough. But Darwin Nunez, up until he got injured, was looking good. But now let's have the big talk.
Real quick.
Yes.
Real quick, I also want to add on that Endo signing. It's that's why we've seen how good he's been. I think it's obviously whenever we talk about transfers, we're all hungry for young players. We're looking for the next exciting young player no one's expecting. But it's when if you sign the right player with experience, he can really perform and he won't succumb to pressure. And I think that's been the story of Wataru Endo. And that's a new player. He's been easily as good or better than both of Chelsea's midfield pivots. So it's just that. I think sometimes we're too quick to discredit players that are maybe sort of going towards the end of their career, but sometimes you also need that kind of player to make a good team, to just make them competitive. So I think he's a great example of sort of an unexpected sort of older signing that can still complete a team really well.
No, I agree with that. And now, of course, the main topic, I don't think we've addressed it all. Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders, and the entire board at Liverpool are saying their farewells at the end of the season. Jurgen Klopp leaving at the end of the season. Jose, for you, where does he rank amongst all-time Premier League managers for you as of right now, as we're recording this?
Sir Alex, Pep, Mourinho, Wenger, Klopp.
And I would agree. Serious, what do you think? And what do you think he'll be remembered most? When you think Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool, like what will you remember him by most?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Probably just the way he changed that team. Like when he first came in, I remember like they finished 7th, and just everyone that he's developed and bought, just really changing that team after they didn't win the Premier League with Gerrard.
And Andre, what about you? Just when you think Jurgen Klopp, what do you think will be his lasting legacy at Liverpool? And do you think Liverpool could win the title to send off Klopp on the eye, like we did with Sir Alex, 11 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I feel like I mean, I know they're a decorated team, but I still feel like they did obviously just really were on the wrong side of the footballing gods sometimes. Like obviously that season where they lost by a point was the 98-97 was the final points tally with City. It was just like
yeah.
It's like it's been it. I think when I think of Liverpool and his tenure there, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job, and they've accomplished a lot. But you almost still feel like maybe they deserve more, and hopefully, if they can go ahead and win the title this season, or maybe even hit a treble, then it will be the perfect send off for Klopp. It'll be like, okay, finally we're gonna. This is what it's all been for. All those missed chances, all that, the lack of fortune. Hopefully, he can get his fairy tale ending this season, and then it'll just be a total clean sign off. Okay, there's got a project here. Let's get someone else. So again, it's like I said earlier, I'm kind of rooting for him to at least get one more trophy somewhere.
No, yeah, I agree with that. Honestly, I think I think that will be the best possible way to send off Jurgen Klopp. Honestly,
And he's still an all-timer. I find it hard to disagree with Jose's.
No, I agree. I mean, for me, if he wins the Premier League at the end of the season and he wins like the Europa and all that, then I'll put him above Arsene Wenger. But if he doesn't, no, he doesn't go above Wenger for me.
Does he only have one league right now, or does he have two?
Yes, he only has one league title.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, he's been there 7-8 years. So it's like, I feel like he needs one more.
At least he needs to win at least one more, and he needs to at least win, the Europa League as well. And then maybe I'll put him above Klopp, but no. The real question is who will replace him? Who will replace him?
I mean, it has to be Xabi Alonso. I don't see anyone else. I think it's perfect. It makes a lot of sense. I think he'd do great with that team. I think he'd keep Liverpool about as competitive as Klopp has them next season.
That's right. Now, next, moving into Luton, and looking at Luton, you know what? Like, as I was saying before, look, yes, I know they lost to Man United. Yes, they lost to Liverpool, and pretty much United, if I'm honest. But to be fair, right? To be fair, I think that looking at the recent performances, I think it's beyond admirable the football that they're playing, and they're actually doing all right. They're actually playing all right, honestly. But anyways, looking at their run again, scores and ratings for Rob Edwards and Santa Place both on a negative and positive side of things. Jose, what are you saying?
Yeah, I mean, standout players. I mention the same players every time, but I have to say Carlton Morris, Chidozie Ogbene, and Adebayo. I think he scored a hat trick in the Brighton game? I think he scored a hat trick. Yeah, he played very well in that game. But I think that they've learned how to score goals, which is very important. They've been scoring a lot of goals recently. Scored in all 5 of these games. Scored 4 goals each against Brighton and Newcastle, which is very impressive. Yeah, I mean, fairly respectable. I think they'd only be disappointed with a Sheffield United loss. That's an important game for them to win if they want to stay up. So yeah,
Man United lost as well. I think they could have easily beaten us that game.
I think so too. Yeah, and honestly, they played well in that first half against Liverpool, but the power of Anfield, I guess, got to them in the second half, I would say. So
No,
yeah, they did
I
very well.
huge shots for me have to go to three other players: Alfie Doty, Albert Semi Lukonga, and Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley has been an absolute revelation this season. For free transfer as well. Come in, and he has done a seriously good job. And just looking at this run, do you think that they could potentially stay up in the Premier League this season, or do you think that they'll still go down?
I mean, I think that they'll still go down just because I don't think that I can think. I think that Forest, Brentford, Everton, Bournemouth, Palace, some of the other potential possible relegation candidates are all better than Luton. I mean, I don't think they'll come near Luton, to be honest. I think that bottom three is pretty much locked in unless any further points deductions happen with Everton. Also, I just wanted to say that Ross Barkley was shouted out by TalkSport as a possible replacement for Casemiro, one of their more intelligent takes of the recent years.
Gotta love TalkSport. Gotta love TalkSport. I was gonna say I saw this Ross Barkley links to Man United. I'm just like, no.
I mean, it just makes perfect sense because they play the same position. Ross Barkley's a young, up and coming star. It makes a lot of
Ross
sense.
Barkley's been around for gosh knows how long. He has to be in his late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah, no, he's like 28. I was being sarcastic.
No, I saw those links and I was dying. But no, that I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Next, of course, we have Manchester City. City looking back to their best. Looking at their run of games, serious scores and ratings for Pep Guardiola and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things for Man City.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Since the introduction of KDB, I think he has 11 assists in 12 games or something like that. He is their most assists in all competitions, and he just got back, which is absolutely insane to me. If I was to shout on one person, because it's really hard to shout on anyone on Man City because they're so good, it'd probably be Grealish. I don't think he's had a good season. I think Pep. I don't know if you guys saw Pep also called him out. Said he has to be better. So yeah, I mean everyone else has been brilliant. Rodri's been, oh my gosh, he's so good.
I think huge shouts have to go to Phil Foden. Huge shouts have to go to Phil Foden.
Phil Foden's been really good.
He's I didn't think he had player.
Yeah, I think he he had a little bit of trouble last season getting into the team with Grealish playing as well as he did last season, and this season he's really just made that role his, and he's been great wherever he's played.
No, I couldn't agree more. I also shout out to Julian Alvarez, Ruben Diaz as well. They've been excellent. I'd say, and this is a player which I don't think I've ever in my life said has either been like a negative or anything like that. I've just seen a slight decrease in the performances of Bernardo Silva, and this is not me saying that he's a rubbish footballer because that'd be ludicrous. That'd be ludicrous for me to say that he's a rubbish footballer, because he's a fantastic footballer. I've just seen this a slight decrease in the performances. It just doesn't look like the usual Bernardo, but I'm sure he'll be back. Back to his best. Haaland as well.
You guys saw that Bernardo free kick that was just circulating around social media?
Yeah. When you put that out for a throw-in.
Yeah, that didn't help.
No. But no, seriously, I agree about Kyle Walker, though. He's definitely looks that he's slowing down and that he needs to be replaced at some point.
He doesn't like Mopai.
No, yeah, he definitely doesn't like Neil Mopai. Definitely doesn't.
Or his wife.
But I think Man City need midfield upgrades. I think as great as the low cost signings of Mateus Nunes and Mateo Kovacic are, I still don't even think they're good enough to be Man City bench players. I mean, looking at the summer, I think Joshua Kimmich will be available. Paquetá, I think they're going to go all in for Paquetá. I think if they bring in both of those players, I think those would be fantastic players to have in and around their midfield, honestly. And next to the other side of Manchester. All right, Jose, it's time to talk about
just better side of Manchester. Yes.
This continued cesspool of shambles that is our football club. Why does it have to be, right? And I was saying this Andre, I think I was saying this the other day to you. Why does it have to be, right? That the season that I decide to return back to England, and I'm incredibly excited to be back for the year. Why did that have to be the year where I see my club sign Mason Mount? And now we've been absolutely horrendous this whole season. Like why was this the season that this had to happen? Like someone tell me this, please. Anyways, looking at our run of results before the Fulham game, everyone's saying, "Oh, look at us! Ten Hag has turned a corner. Look at the Ten Hag masterclass. We're 4 games on the bounce, even though we looked rubbish in all those 4 games, but we still won 4." But scores and ratings for Erik Ten Hag and stand-up players both on a negative and positive side of things.
We were the better side on all of our games, except for probably the Luton game. I thought we were not very good in the Luton game.
We were not the better side against Wolves.
We were absolutely the better side against Wolves. I was watching that game.
Bro, so was I. We were not the better side against Wolves.
Yes, we were.
With all the possession, we can't finish chances for our lives.
All of a sudden, we get 1 loss in 5 games, and fans like Davis want to sack Ten Hag again.
No, I think he'll be gone anyways, because when you look at Ineos, they've come and they want new ideas. So regardless of what I think Ineos' minds are already made up. This is not even me just wanting Ten Hag to go. If you look at it from a rational point of view, you saw what Bowley did with Tuchel. He got rid of Tuchel, and Tuchel had done far less bad than what Ten Hag is doing. So when I look at it from that point of view, I don't think that Ten Hag
and Chelsea are in such a good place now. And Chelsea are in such a good place now.
Well, no, that ownership does not have a clue about Toronto Football Club. There's no footballing people in that ownership.
I see.
When I see Belford and all that, they're trying to bring in Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada. These are footballing.
Dave, are you Ten Hag out?
Yes, he's been Ten Hag out.
Well, no, I'm also explaining that regardless of what I think of Ten Hag, I think that he'll be out by the end of the season anyways, because I think Ineos will already have their minds made up about, especially if the top CEO from Man City's coming in, but one of Man City's top guys is coming in, or if we get Dan Ashworth in, who's top director of football. And if we get Jason Wilcox as well, who's at Southampton, but also worked at Man City, they'll be seeing these results and they'll be thinking, this is not a style of football that we want to play.
So who's going to play the style of football we want to play? Tuchel? Conte?
No.
Available then.
No, that's not down to me. That's down to what the new ownership, that's down to what Dan Ashworth, that's down to Omar Barada, what Sir Dave Brailsford.
You're Ten Hag out. You're Ten Hag out. You want him to leave.
There are things that I look at Ten Hag and I directly blame him, but there are also things that I look at the players and just think, you've been absolutely horrendous, this whole season,
not this whole season, for the past, let's see, 11 years.
No, yes, well, that as well.
We've changed the manager, 5 times, 4 times? I can't even count anymore. It doesn't change anything at all. Anyway, we've been good, and Højlund's been our best player by far. That's my analysis.
There have been some positives. Kobbie Mainoo as well, since he's been coming. What a goal he scored against Wolves, by the way.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah, that was a great goal. I saw that.
He's been absolutely brilliant in this Man United midfield. He's literally, for me, these senior players should be absolutely embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. By the way, he's literally been carrying this midfield. Midfielders like Bruno and Casemiro should be, showing him. And
Casemiro's been good too, but just whatever.
No, yeah, he's been okay. But he's just been such a big standout. Rafael Varane once again just shows why I hope he stays on reduced wages, but I want him to stay. I want Rafa to stay. Honestly, quality center back, he should be staying. I don't want him to leave my football club. He stays.
I think we need 2 quality center backs. To be honest, I just think Varane's injury prone, Lissandro's injury prone. We got to get 2.
No, I agree with that, but I think, but like what we were saying with Chelsea, Jose, we don't want to, go into the season where we have literally no experience, and this is a World Cup winner.
No, I agree. I think Varane should stay too.
I'm not saying on the wages that he's on now. But I'm saying if he agrees to take a wage cut and say, all right, you know, you're not going to get paid anything more than 200 grand a week. Cool. For around 200K a week, you know what? That's fine. I don't really mind that. Because, and you know what? And, you know, if Harry Maguire is making 200 grand a week, then you know what? Varane should, you know, if we're signing Varane to lower terms, he should at least be on those terms. So, you know, I'd want to see Varane say, Diogo Dalot once again. I'm going to keep shining my guy. This is my right back. Diogo Dalot once again.
Mid at best. He can leave for all I care.
Bro, Diogo's been arguably our player of the season, even though that's not saying much.
An outrageous take, Davis.
No, I said arguably. I didn't say that he was.
Still outrageous.
Okay. Okay, then if we had a player of the season, then who would it be? If you say Garnacho, I'm going to lose my mind.
Why would I have said that? I'm never going to say Garnacho. No,
Who would you say then?
Probably Højlund.
Højlund? Are you forgetting that he didn't score for us till Boxing Day? Nah, come on.
Well,
man,
in
no.
the league he didn't. He carried us in the Champions League.
And where are we in the Champions League? It does like the Champions League is irrelevant.
He's consistently been our best player this season.
I want to ask who has a higher ceiling, Kobe Mainu or Rasmus Højlund?
Oh, Kobe Mainu. Kobe Mainu could be like.
If I could only keep one of them, I'd get rid of Højlund tomorrow and keep Kobe.
Kobe Mainu has like Pogba potential. Hopefully, he can actually fulfill it.
He also reminds me of someone told me this the other day. I don't remember who, but he reminds me of Thiago as well, like Thiago at Bayern Munich. Just the way he's able to move and just his awareness of where
that's definitely true.
Around him. Kobe Mainu is an exceptional footballer. He's a very, very good footballer with such a high ceiling, and I rate the kid very, very, very highly, honestly. And for players who have been okay, of course you have to shout out Scott McTominay for late goals, but honestly,
he's in with the shout for player this season, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, unfortunately, yeah, he unfortunately would be in the shout for player this season. He is our top goal scorer this season. Scott McTominay is our top goal scorer this season. I think with 8 goals. But I think Højlund's almost at there.
Højlund certainly has more than 8 because he has 7 and 5.
I think McTominay's. I think he's either level with McTominay or probably just past him. But Onana, Andre Onana, his performances have improved as well. I'd say the only thing with his performances had been the just the one goal he conceded against Luton where my man looked like he was doing, fucking star jumps for that goal.
Everyone is so harsh on Onana. I don't really know why. I think maybe there's something like people just want the Man United goalkeeper to be terrible all the time.
No, I'm saying he's definitely improved in this run.
No, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you on anything. I don't think you're making any bad points. I'm just saying people in general have been way too harsh on Onana. I think he's a fine goalkeeper and he'll only improve for us.
No, I think he'll be.
If Ineos give him another chance and don't sign a goalkeeper this summer, we'll see.
I don't think we'll sign a goalkeeper in the summer.
Yeah, I don't think we will either.
Stuck with Onana, and we're just gonna have to ride out with him. Negatives, the same negatives that I always mention almost every single time. That front three, apart from Rasmus Højlund, is not doing its job. It's been absolutely horrendous. Garnacho, Rashford, dreadful. They've both been awful. Bruno Fernandes, once again, he continuously put 0 out of 10s in every single week. I'm sick of Bruno at this point. I really am.
Yeah, I am too. But I don't agree about Rashford and Garnacho. They've been certainly better recently, I would say.
They've improved slightly. Marcus Rashford, you're on 350 grand a week. I expect so much more than you. Rashford, you're not a kid anymore. You're 26 years old. And putting in these performances, and this is where I'm shifting away, or in the sense that I'm not going to blame Ten Hag for his lack of pressing. I'm not going to blame Ten Hag for his lack of, I guess, mobility and all that. I don't care who you are, Marcus Rashford. You're not too good for this team to not press. You're not too good for this team to be giving 110%. You're not too good for that. I don't care who the manager is. You should be giving 110%, and you're clearly not. Performing to a man. But where I will look at Ten Hag is that we tried to play Rashford through the middle against Nottingham Forest. It didn't work. Why are you playing Rashford through the middle against Fulham? When you literally have Ahmad who can do a job at false 9. And things are wrong.
Evidence that Ahmad can do a job at false 9.
He literally played Ahmad, false 9 in preseason, literally
Oh,
this
in preseason.
preseason. And for whatever reason, he has not given Ahmad any game time whatsoever. None. He brings on Ahmad for like the last like 5 minutes to save his job, and these are things that I will look at Ten Hag and I'll give the examples. Firstly, why are you letting you let Reguilon go when Malassi is still injured? So one injury to Luke Shaw and you're like back to Lindelof, a left back. Why did you let him go back? Luke Shaw, of course, gets injured, and you're back to Lindelof playing at left back. But then he gets injured against Fulham. So what is it going to be? You let Alvaro Fernandez go on loan. So is it going to be Amrabat left back? God Almighty! If he plays Amrabat at left back against Man City, oh my word! Just I don't know what to say. But when Garnacho puts in these 0 out of 10 performances every single week,
Garnacho played well against Wolves and West Ham.
what did he do against Wolves?
What did he do? I just thought he was good. He doesn't have to have a goal or assist.
When I look at his movement off the ball, I'm not. I just see
He's
someone
looked
that
better.
just
He's looked better on the right, in my opinion.
No, he looks better on the right because on the left he's not trying to cut inside every single time. He's actually forced to actually cross the ball and actually provide service for the strikers and the attackers up front. But one thing where I will look at Ten Hag, how come his own signings, right? Why are his own signings like Amrabat on all of a sudden doesn't play? Eriksen doesn't ever play. You never see Eriksen get any minutes anymore. Antony, you spent £85 million on Antony. And yet for whatever reason, this guy's just never able to even get a game. Omari Forson was playing ahead of Antony. If Højlund's out, I'm thinking, all right, you know what? At least give. If he had played Antony that game, I would have said, all right, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The front three, it's been working well in these games. You know what? It's not been the best, but you know what? Højlund's out. All right, if he's going to play Antony, all right, I would understand that. But he hasn't even given him a go. He chose Omari Forson.
Okay, let's keep moving.
I think Jose sees that point. Anyways, getting into Newcastle. Let's look at Newcastle. Now, Andre, looking at these last 5 games for Newcastle, scores remaining for Eddie Howe and Santa Post with on the negative and positive side of things.
It's looked pretty dreadful. I've still been disappointed by Guimaraes. So we've pointed that out the whole season, but yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know what this team needs. Where do they even sit right now?
They slipped down to 10th.
10th, yeah.
But just recently, they were in like 7th for a while, but they just recently slipped down to 10th.
Yeah, I mean, this shows how close intact everyone is in the table.
They can't find a performance lately. I feel like Newcastle game in a while. Yeah, I saw someone back Tuchel for that job. I thought that was an interesting take.
Wait, what is it?
I saw someone back Tuchel for that job. He said,
for the Newcastle job.
I thought that was an interesting take.
That could be good. I think that could work.
That could work, but Tuchel's a very pragmatic manager, so I don't know.
The point they were making was like that at Newcastle he wouldn't have to deal with sort of the ego that he does at Bayern. So
that's true.
People
there would be no egos. There wouldn't really be.
The person was saying that it would be really rigid, but that's kind of fits Newcastle, and that the players would just buy into Tuchel right away because he's Thomas Tuchel. So I don't know, maybe, but yeah, I'm scared for Eddie. I'm scared for Eddie Howe. I'm not sure what's next.
Could it be on the chopping block, Eddie Howe? Because that would be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think this could be it could be very interesting to see. I think Eddie Howe's job is definitely somewhat at risk. I'm not gonna lie, his job's definitely at risk. If they don't finish somewhere respectable, and they know someone like Tuchel's out there and available, I don't see why. I unfortunately don't see why he's he would say. Blackburn and Newcastle right now are going to penalties right now in the FA Cup as we're recording. They're going to penalties. So I mean, if they go out, if they go out of the competition, then it's long for them. But anyways,
Man,
some
sad.
of the players, I mean, Kieran Trippier, a player that we talk about all the time. Andre Jose, you mentioned Kieran Trippier all the time, or more so Andre. But for being one of the most accomplished, fullbacks in the Premier League, he's dropping off. Sean Longstaff, who's been good for a while, he's dropping off. Once again, the only maybe 3 players that I'd say: Fabian Schär, Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak. Other than that, just no one else. Literally no one else. And Joe Linton, his injury record is appalling. As decent a player that he is, I think he could be moved on this summer. Dan Ashworth is definitely leaving in the summer. And kind of blasting on Man United Newcastle related. Jose, what are your thoughts actually on Dan Ashworth? Do you think that he will do well for us, assuming that he comes in from Newcastle? What do you think?
What was his role at Newcastle?
So he was their director of football. Newcastle took him from Brighton for doing the same job. He worked in the FA, so he knows everything.
I think. His CV. The CV says enough. Then I think he's worked at 2 clubs who've had serious resurgences in the past 2 years. I think he could certainly do a job for us.
100%. I'm very excited to see him come in, and he's a very, very, very close relationship with Sir Jim Radcliffe, and as well as Sir David Brailsford. I think it'll be very, very, very interesting to see. Next, Nottingham Forest. This is a team that's been. I know that they've lost 3 games, right? But they lost to Arsenal, they lost to Newcastle, they lost to Villa, 3 difficult games. But thoughts on scores and ratings for Nuno, Andre's favorite ever Tottenham manager, and standout players on both on a negative and positive side of things. Jose, what are you saying?
Yeah, pretty up and down. Good win against West Ham. They've had some difficult fixtures though, I would say. I think they'd probably be disappointed drawing to Bournemouth. Although Bournemouth have been in good form. I don't know. It's not been that bad from Newcastle. I'd probably give them like a C. I would say.
Sure. No, that's sure.
Gibbs White has been good as usual, to be honest.
Yeah, I've still loved Gibbs White. He's what I think of when I see Nottingham.
No, definitely. I think that he's I think he's someone that could that some of the top clubs in the Premier League could be looking at. Not top 6, but maybe like slightly below that. Good, very good football. I rate him highly. Taiwo Awoniyi, I know that's a player that Jose you always talk about. Taiwo Awoniyi, he's been back with the goals. But I think 2 other players that that need to be talked about: Callum Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga. Both of them, they've been both putting in very good performances for Nottingham Forest, to the point where Gio Reyna, who's coming from Dortmund, we know the kind of player that Gio Reyna is. I think he's only 21 years old, so a lot of promise and talent there. But he was sent out of Dortmund to make room for my guy, my winger, who I cannot say his name because Jose will not be too happy if I mention it. But obviously he was sent out of Dortmund because he had come in and he wasn't really playing anyways, regardless. So he was sent out for that reason, and especially with him coming in, it just made sense to leave. But Elanga and Hudson-Odoi are performing to the point where even Gio Reyna's not been able to get a game. But Matt Turner, just I think we need to talk about Matt Turner because he's been awful to the point where Nuno, who was a goalkeeper in his playing career, literally said, "I'm going to sign a goalkeeper from Strasbourg for like 8 mil, Matt Sells, and he's our new number 1, literally, and he's coming straight away, and he's a new number 1." I mean, and do you think Matt Turner's future at Nottingham Forest now is at risk because of that?
I mean, sorry, but I always thought like his peak was being a backup. I don't think he's good. I never ever even when he was fine at Arsenal, I always thought his peak would be being a backup in the Prem. I never thought he was good enough to be the number 1 at a Prem team. I really never.
Yeah, I agree with Andre. Yep.
That's true. That's true. Anyways, and to try and keep things moving. Next, Sheffield United. And I have no idea where Sirius has gone. Sirius once again has gone missing. Just like Bruno does every week, he's just gone missing for whatever reason. I don't know why he's gone, but looking at Sheffield United's recent run of games, and I'll just do Sheffield United. Just why not? Looking at the scores and ratings to them, for me, as I said last episode, they're going to go down. They're going to finish bottom. Good win against Luton. The performances have, apart from the Brighton and Villa performances, they've improved. Other than Bertrand Diaz, James McAtee, and Vinicius Souza and Cameron Archer, they've just not been good. And Mason Holgate, that tackle on Mitoma was an absolute disgrace. I mean, that tackle was unlike anything that I've ever. I mean, that was like going viral on social media. I mean, that tackle was just unbelievable, and he was rightfully sent off. But yeah, for me, Brighton get a 0. Chris Wilder gets a 1 because I think he's in a bad situation. He's bound to go down. But yeah, moving on from Brighton, or moving on from Sheffield United, Andre, Tottenham. Time to talk Tottenham. And we can talk about Joao Gomez if you'd like, or if not. Looking at Tottenham's run of games and its high line. Scores and ratings for Ange Postecoglou and stand-up players with on a negative and positive side of things, Andre.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I feel like we've been playing so like sporadically. It's hard to judge much. We didn't even have a game this week. Yeah, I feel like the team's just been not finding much consistency. The energy isn't right. So sort of like excitement from the beginning. I feel like I don't know, the energy is not clicking, and I feel like it's scheduling. I just feel like we need maybe a game every 3 days or 3-4 days, and it can pick up because it just the team looks really disjointed when it didn't before. We're just finally starting to get some of our injury guys back, which is exciting. I'd say standout players. Honestly, I think Pape Matar Sarr has probably been looking like our most important player these past few games. To be honest,
Richarlison still looked good. He's still scoring some goals.
He is, but he's looked. Again, he's looked really inconsistent. Sort of a good mascot for the team right now. I feel like in our last game he was really weak. I already kind of want to try Son up top again.
Like something else.
Yeah, I feel like when Richarlison's done well, it was when the team when
Son was out. It was when Son was out and he was
when
more.
Son was out and a number of players were out. Was when Richarlison was doing good. When we were spineless, Richarlison was our spine. But lately, now that we have our team back, it sort of felt like we're not clicking the same with Richarlison up front, and I kind of want to try Son up front because I feel like he'd just add some clinical efficiency to this team. I feel like it'd add more dynamism. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'd say Pape Sarr has been a huge, someone really important. I don't really know where we'd be in this season without Vicario either. He's just.
I'd say also your fullbacks as well. Your fullbacks are hugely important. I think they were the reason why you lost that game against Wolves. And Basuma was absolutely awful with that game as well. And he's not been looking like the same Basuma either.
Not at all. That's why it's like I think our fan base got a little too excited with Basuma. I'd say in those opening games, I feel like he only was really good for about 10 matches, and other than that, he's not been good enough. So
he's a good player. He's definitely a very good player.
He's a good player, but I feel like he's got talent. I mean, he was literally recreating or doing better what he did best at Brighton, but I feel like the individuals around him are seriously impacting his performance. And I don't think he's the same player unless Pape Sarr is next to him. So yeah, I don't know. Our fullbacks, I wouldn't trade him for any other fullback in the world like that.
For sure, Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's pretty good. I know how much you love Luke Shaw.
No. I'm in love with our fullbacks, but
Luke Shaw, Destiny Udogie, swap deal.
Never in a million years. Yes, I've been happy. I feel like Van de Ven since he's come back. Oh God, it's yeah, all Spurs fans we're edging to Van de Ven right now. He's doing amazing.
No,
I'm
look at,
really. Or no, go ahead.
so speaking of center backs, let's talk about Radu Dragusin because
Yeah,
how has he not even gotten a game under this manager?
I don't. Yeah, he's not gotten a start. He's gotten like a few. He's kind of had some minutes at the end here and there, just to let it, like when we've needed some more defense, and he's come in. But yeah, I'm really, really, really hungry to see him play. I really wanted to get a start because I do.
Like you finally have some center back depth, and you're not using it. So
Well, that's the thing. Since he's come in, we haven't needed it. Right now, they're both back. But my thing is like, when a
I
player
think he's a
isn't
better footballer than Romero. I'd play him over Romero. I'd do Van de Ven and Dragusin. I'm sorry. Romero, he's okay, but everyone's like Romero is so good.
Yeah, you don't know. I think he's better because I think Romero is better than okay. I sure think he's quality, but I'm really curious to see Dragusin. He's also, I think he's very young, so he doesn't mind waiting out. However, I feel like given he was playing every minute for Genoa, he was doing very well. For him to go from that to suddenly no game time at all, his form's going to drop. So this man's got to like. I just feel like he needs to start. I feel like it's already too late. I feel like he's probably already dropped off a bit. But yeah, I really want to see him start a match.
The last thing I'll say about Tottenham, do you think Ange Postecoglou needs to be tactically more flexible? Because we saw in that Wolves game and it showed in that Chelsea game that he's always going to go with the hard line, and if the hard line for life doesn't work, he's just going to stick by it and he'll die by it. So I think he needs to learn how to be a little pragmatic at times.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like when we've lost, it's not due to his tactics or him being like maybe overambitious. The issue that is game management is where he's improving. His substitutions are his one area of criticism. Game management, Chelsea, he couldn't calm his team down, right? We had all those guys out. And then game management recently, right? His philosophy is do not look at the clock. Do not change how you're playing based on the clock. If there's a few minutes left, I don't care. Keep going. That's where I'm like, sometimes I just want to grind out results. Like if we're up already 2-1, there's 2 minutes left. We don't need to go all out attack right there. So I don't think it's tactical flexibility based on the opponent. I just think it's the game management of that match alone, which is like, yeah, that's where I'm like is one area of improvement. I don't think it's this huge tactical philosophy. I'm playing Man City, I need to be more pragmatic. I don't think it's that. I don't want to do that. I just think in game is sometimes where we need better game management. We can't. I don't know.
Anyways, moving on to the last two clubs before the 27 predictions. First, looking at West Ham, Jose, over to looking at their last 5 matches, and they've been absolutely awful. They've been horrendous up until the game last night. Scores and ratings for David Moyes and Santa players both on a negative and positive side of things.
Yeah, they've been really poor. They go through runs like this sometimes. I mean, the only player I can point out is Jared Bowen, who's having a fantastic season, by the way. I think he's in with a shout for player of the season for the entire league, I would say. He's been incredible for them for like the second or third season running, I would say. So
this has been his best season. I agree with that.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, they've been poor. They've been I probably give them like a D.
No, I agree with that. And I think a huge reason why, and I said on West Ham Fan TV, and of course, big up Nikki and those guys at West Ham Fan TV for having me as well. Huge shouts to them for having me. I'm back at the Bournemouth game. So a huge shout to them. And I said on there, and I'll say it here, I think without Paquetá, there's such a lack of creativity in that side, and that's such a huge issue with them. I'd say, as many goals as they've conceded, I think Alphonse Areola has had a good season as well. I think that the goals that he's conceding are not down to him. I think if he is a better defense in front of him, I think he also does a better job. But negatives, Calvin Phillips, just did you and I, Jose, literally say with the Calvin Phillips zone that you and I specifically say that, where is he going to fit in this West Ham midfield? Didn't you and I literally say that like when he signed? And in that first match, horrible back pass for the first Solanke's goal, and And in the game against Nottingham Forest, he goes and gets himself sent off. So I don't, and I think he scored an own goal that game as well. He gets an own goal and he gets sent off. So
it was a weird one. I mean, he was leaving a team with many midfielders who were better than he is, and he joined a team with many midfielders who were also better than he is. So it didn't make much sense to me.
No, it didn't. I'd say Kudus he's dropped off, but if not for Kudus and Bowen, this team attacking wise would be nowhere. Thomas Socek has dropped, and Sonu's been he also has dropped off. Jose, your favorite right back in the world.
He's had a rough patch. I would say.
Do you still back him?
Of course, I still back him. He's the best in the league. He'll be in the team this season. Don't worry. Just wait.
Gonna sign for Real Madrid to replace Carvajal.
I think it is. I think it's time.
And lastly, before we move on to Wolves, let's talk about David Moyes. His contract expires at the end of the season. Will he get a new deal? Will he stay at the club, or do you think he will go?
I mean, I don't know if he'll get a new deal. I think he should. I've always been Moyesian. I think he's done actually a really good job with West Ham. But
some of that's not is honestly awful. Like, some of the football that they play is absolutely dreadful. And I'm looking at
they go through bad runs, but then they also he managed to win them a trophy, which I think is very impressive to win a trophy.
I also think looking at that Conference League, I think any manager would have won that trophy. They're the best team in that competition, so I think it was kind of an expectation to win that trophy. Like looking at it now, of course it's a huge thing to win them that trophy because it's their first trophy in so long. But looking at it now, I think that I think regardless of who's managing that team, I think they should be winning the competition.
Yeah, but also perhaps not including last season because they were poor in the league last season. But otherwise, I think Moyes actually brought a good amount of consistency. But that's also not to say that another manager might do better because they have a great team, and I think that they have players who could play maybe even better than how they're playing now. So exactly. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get a new deal. I think either way they can justify it. So I don't know, whatever they want to do.
It depends what they want to do as a club. I mean, I think I saw a video just sort of showing how West Ham have totally outperformed themselves in terms of results versus their actual underlying stats, where it's a lot of it is truly disappointing. They're ranking last in the Prem for a lot of stuff, but yet they're still getting points here and there. So I feel like if you do give, maybe it's just the Moyes style of football, but I feel like if you do give Moyes another deal, and you give him, let's say, a four-year contract, you're basically agreeing to eventually give him a payout. I feel like when you eventually keep underperforming stats-wise, eventually you're not going to get as lucky. And I don't know. So I feel like if they do give him a new deal, I feel like it would be smart to just keep it pretty low. I wouldn't exceed 2 years.
That's fair.
I agree.
And lastly, before we do our predictions for the week, we have Wolves. Andre, looking at Wolves and their recent run of games, scores and ratings for Gary O'Neill and stand-up plays both on the negative and positive side of things.
Yeah. I'd probably give O'Neill about a 7. I really do think he was a great appointment for Wolves. And I think we kind of all knew that at the beginning of the show too. At the start of the season, we were all pretty interested in what Gary O'Neill could do. I still think Cunha's been pretty great. Pedro Neto, man, I mean that pace he showed against us is just they've got a
Joao Gomez
there. Joao Gomez. The Spanish, what's his name?
Sarabia.
I always forget his name. Yeah, Sarabia. It's just they're cooking, man. I think we can all enjoy some of Gary O'Neill's Wolves this season, and hopefully if they can really if they can have a strong window, because O'Neill did not get much of one, then really I hope we can see Wolves back competing in those same table positions when they were great under Nuno, maybe 7th, above mid-table. If we can see a quality Wolves coming to Gary O'Neill, that would be really exciting for the league.
Those are the Wolves days. Those Wolves days under Nuno, like when they first came up, they were killing those. They were the kings at beating the top 6.
Yeah,
and I mean, I mean, even us. I mean, Jose, like we almost always have a difficult time going to Molineux.
Yeah,
Almost
I would always be worried when we went to Molineux. I remember one time in 2020 in the 2021 season, we beat them, and I was like, oh, we're winning the league. We managed to beat Wolves at Molineux. I think Rashford scored in that game or something. It was just
Oh yeah. It was at home. Was it during the COVID season?
yeah.
Oh yeah. That was I remember that. That was at home. When we
I think it was to put us top of the league.
Oh yeah, that season. I remember that season, man. But yeah, I think Gary Neville should get a lot of credit for the way that Wolves have been playing. And now, lastly, it's a shame that Sirius is not here, but we'll get his later at some point. Matchday 27 predictions. First, Newcastle hosting Wolves. What are we saying? Jose, I'll start with you.
I'd go Wolves with a 2-1 win, and Sagai just let me know he agrees.
Oh, great. And Andre, what about you?
Man, that could be a really good game. Honestly, let's go 3-2 Wolves. I feel like it'll be a good game.
Okay.
Newcastle will be deadly off those set pieces.
Tottenham hosting Crystal Palace. What are we saying?
1-1 only because I think the new manager bounced for Crystal Palace.
Andre, what about you?
I'm definitely fearful that Oliver Glasner manager bounce, but given we're at home, I feel like we've had a good record against manager bounce type of teams. I don't know if I'm gonna go 2-1 Tottenham.
Okay. Nottingham Forest hosting Liverpool.
Yeah, I go 3-0 Liverpool.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I'll go 4-1 Liverpool.
Brentford hosting Chelsea. Jose.
That's kind of a tough one. I'm gonna go with a draw, 1-1.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
Let's go. So yeah, I do think Chelsea will win this, but let's go 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea. Okay.
No, 2-1.
2-1 Chelsea. Okay. Everton hosting West Ham.
That's also kind of a tough one. I'll go West Ham 1-0.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
Let's actually go 1-0 Everton.
Okay. Fulham hosting Brighton. What's that?
Fulham win 2-0.
Okay, confident. Sounding very confident. Andre, what about you?
I agree with you.
That's what I like to hear.
Come on, Piaz. Luton hosting Aston Villa. Jose.
2-1 Villa.
Okay. Andre.
Let's go for a cheeky point for Luton. We'll go at 2-2.
Okay.
I was thinking about that cheeky point for Luton as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wait. So what's your score prediction, son? If you're going a cheeky point for Luton?
No, I was thinking about it.
You were thinking about it.
I didn't do it.
So you're still saying 2-1 Aston Villa?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure. Burnley hosting Bournemouth.
Probably a Bournemouth win. No, I have to kind of do one shocking result. I'll go 2-0 Burnley.
Okay. And is this one for the Jose Masterclass of the week?
Yeah, I mean not a particularly confident Jose Masterclass, but maybe a cheeky one.
Andre, what about you?
I'll go 3-1 Bournemouth.
Next, the Manchester Derby. Man City hosting Manchester United. Jose, what are you saying? Eric Ten Hag, a tactical genius masterclass?
Absolutely not. Not in this one. I go 3-0 to Man City, and I'm being generous. Generous to Man United.
Andre, what are we saying?
I feel like I could see you guys knocking in a goal here. I think I'll go. You know what? I'll go 2-1 City. It could be close.
And last but not least, Sheffield United hosting Arsenal.
Probably 3-0 Arsenal.
Okay. And Andre, what are you saying?
I don't know. Every week I'm just thinking because I don't know if you remember. I don't know if I was on the phone with you, Davis, or was this show, but I was like, I could just see this game being the random game of season where Arsenal get like a 5-0, and then they've had that for the last 3 games in a row now. Let's go. Let's do it high scoring again. We'll go. Let's just go 4-0 Arsenal.
Okay, and there you have it. There has been your episode, season 4, episode 7. And as we always say, let us know what you think about in the comments down below. Follow us on all of our platforms, on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching our upload, and let us know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on anything and everything addressed in this feature of Premier League Prime Time? Smash a like on the video, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. And be sure to check out our other platforms on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And we hope you have an absolutely fantastic day/evening. Take care.